All right, welcome to our Survivor Tocantins season review, baby. It's
All
time.
right.
If you're new to the
It is
channel,
time.
we're going through all the Survivor seasons chronologically. I'm a big fan, been taking Alec along for the first time. So this is not a rewatch or anything. It was a rewatch for me, but it's first time experience for Alec. So we'll talk about the
Hmm.
season in that context. So not knowing any of the future ones or referencing anything from that. So we always, at the end of every season, we do an in-depth season review, breaking everything down, answering some questions, talking about some post-game stuff, and whatever may have you. And you can go back and watch our reaction to every episode of this season if you'd like. And we talk about each episode in good detail. We'll give out a couple Survivor superlatives, a couple awards, and then at the end we'll see if any players get any changes get made to your top 10 Survivor players. And then in
Right.
a separate
Right.
video, we'll be ranking the season, the winner, and the cast. So you look forward to that as well. And then that'll be it for
Hmm.
Tocantins. We'll be on to the next. All right.
Yeah.
So
There
how
it
are you
is.
feeling fresh off the finale? Well, we had a couple week break, but or a
Yeah.
week break.
Um. Yeah. A week break. Uh. Interesting season. I there's a lot I really liked about it. I think it stayed consistently like fascinating the whole time through. There's a weird roteness to it, to the sort of the narrative. Where it's not exactly the most, maybe the most interesting, because it's like we had two people essentially kind of control the game from the outset, and they were the two people that ended up in the kind of the final two.
Mm-hmm.
There's some, they did have to work their magic in terms of like working against in around being kind of uh, what's kind of the phrasing I'm looking for. They were not that they were on the outs, but they didn't have the numbers supporting them. They were definitely outnumbered at certain periods of time. They had to sort of work
Yeah.
within some of that strict limitations, and work their angles, but still being able to squeeze their way through. So that stuff was all really interesting. It's just like once they sort of overcame that, it was sort of like there wasn't much of a there wasn't much of an obstacle in their
Adversity.
way
Yeah.
through most of the rest of the season. Yeah, and but I mean, we had Coach. Coach was like the through line of weirdness and awkwardness and strangeness that kept every. I mean, he was kind of the reason to keep watching every episode, even with when you had uh the charmer JD who ended up winning, and and you had the whole friendship between the two JD and Steven. So um I'm sorry, JT. I said JD for some
Mm.
reason, but it's JT. Um, I got the Red Sox on the brain. They have a big thing problem with them. I don't even like follow baseball that much anymore. Say JD Drew. That's like old Red Sox lore. Anyway,
Straight out of The
um,
Godfather.
so the Godfather. So it's interesting. I actually I still don't really know how I like necessarily feel about it. I think I'm overall quite positive on it. I'm curious as to what the kind of what the fans think, the overall fans think about this one.
Mm.
I think this skews more on the I really like this season, even if it's not the most interesting in terms of like there's not tons of it. There's not a lot of the game being played in a way that's ended up being ultimately all that shocking, even though there were blindsides and upsets and stuff all along the way. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah. It's like once you hit the merge, um,
Hmm.
I feel like maybe the pre-merge is a little slow. We'll get into it.
Hmm.
There's not as many standout moments in the pre-merge. Once you hit the merge, it gets really interesting. They're down in numbers, but once they have their hold, it's like game over. Nothing ever. They're never in danger at all, and they just have. It's
No.
just like they're deciding what way to go every time. But it's impressive how entertaining it still is because of all the character moments that are baked in each episode. So And
Well,
yeah,
well, I think also what's fun about it too is that like they're controlling the game, but like we have people that think they're controlling the game the whole time outside of them. Like, but besides them, we have coach thinks that he's in control of the game for like a lot of it. Even like when he knows he's on
yeah.
the outs, he still kind of at least puts on the air of that he has control of the game still. Um and yeah.
And as far
So
as the duo, I mean, name a more iconic duo in Survivor history. Can you think of one?
yeah, not not really. I mean, Rob and Amber, but that's a romantic pairing as opposed to like this is like true blue friendship going on here. Like
Yeah, that is,
people are
yeah,
thick as thieves here.
that is. Yeah, Robin Amber's the one other duo that we've seen make it to the final two
Yeah,
all the way. And
yeah,
but you have like, well, Parvati and Amanda. They're kind of a duo.
yeah. They are a duo a little bit, yeah.
But yeah, this is clearly
Or
it's like
Heidi and Jenna.
iconic duo.
Iconic duo, the real strategic masterminds
Rob
of
Sesternino
Survivor.
and Matthew von Ertfelda.
Yeah, sure.
Pascal and Sean. I mean, the hits just keep coming. Colby and Jerry, you know,
Colby and Jerry. Oh yeah,
Colby and Hershey
everyone loves
chocolate
that.
bar. Colby and Rosie O'Donnell.
Colby and Hershey's chocolate. Yeah, Colby and Rosie O'Donnell, I think, is the most iconic.
Yeah, that's
Thank
great.
God. Thank God we don't have to deal with people who aren't Jeff Probst hosting those anymore.
Yeah.
That was so crazy. It was wild. Anyway.
Um. What was it? Colby and or Matthew and his mom? I don't know.
Oh yeah. Where she scolds him for speaking so formally.
Was that what it was? There was one that had a weird,
I think so. Yeah.
like, sexual energy to them. I don't know.
It's a weird
There
what?
was a weird sexual energy to like their
A weird
interaction.
sexual energy to this.
I
Yeah,
thought
I
it
don't
was
think it was
them.
him.
Maybe
I
it's
think
someone
him.
else.
Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was. I don't know.
All right. Well, Survivor Tocantins. We'll get into it.
Hmm.
I have pretty much the same format as last time. We'll go have the DVD cover on the next slide, and then we'll have the
Yeah.
pre-merged, merge, awards, and some other stuff. So let's see here. There you go. Survivor Tocantins. I think for what it's worth, this might be the best, the not compositionally, but the best selection of 6 that they've had for one of the DVDs. I feel like they didn't really leave anyone out. You know, they usually do. I mean,
This
Aaron.
composition is horrible.
Yeah.
This is one of the worst. This is horrible. It's awful.
I mean, they
Awful.
never look
But
good.
this is a
Yeah.
no. This is at least This is at least a. This is a pretty good selection, I think.
Because like, if
Yeah.
you're going by top 6, they left off Aaron and Debbie, and I don't think that's bad. You know, these are more iconic people here. To get Tyson in there, you know,
Yeah.
JT, Steven, Taj, and you got Tyson, Coach, and Sierra. I think that's good.
Yeah. I think that's good, dude. If it's a good mix of the dramatic showcases of the season with the power players. Yeah, I think it's good.
They always don't look good. It's weird. Like they couldn't just. I don't know why they struggled so much with these DVD covers, but
I don't know.
so you filmed November to December 2008, and then aired early 2009. So that's where we're at. Survivor history here.
I was getting ready to graduate high school. That's what's going on in my life during that period of time. Wow. Crazy.
I think, and I'll bring that up later. Someone made a comment about like the scheduling. I guess I can bring it up now. What was it? Make sure I get the right person though.
Pretty decent turnaround, though, I will say. I mean, it's really the month of January, right?
Yeah, so it was
December to January.
Chase Ferrier had made a comment that this was the last season they filmed on a 1 season production cycle before they started doing 2 seasons which is what I'm used to now. They do 2 seasons a year, and it would be like pretty quick back to back. So this was more. They were more spaced out before. And this one, and then when they start the next season, they kick it up with production, producing more. But all right, let's see.
Interesting.
Let's see. The pre-merge. All right.
Yep. Here it is.
The pre-merge. What are their standout moments? Like, I think the pre-merge is a bit of a struggle in this season, honestly.
Yeah, it's looking here. It is pretty rough out here, actually.
But also,
I
didn't mention up front, but I did started doing it last season. I did a video at the beginning of the season by myself.
Yeah.
Just talking it through and then trying to predict what Alec's different awards will be. Which includes the pre-jury gem. I'll write it down and see if I come up with the same one. To me, there's only one right answer, but
there is only one right answer. There is only one right answer.
Who is it?
It's Sandy.
It's Sandy. That's Sandy. That's
Sandy. Right. Sandy was awesome. Like she's just endlessly entertaining. Like I think she said strange things every episode. I don't know. She was kind of funny. She's kind of a funny lady. Yeah. I really enjoyed her energy. It was just very funny. I don't know. It was a lot of fun.
I mean, that brings us back to as
a joke, I was going to say Joe, but I didn't.
Joe. Yeah, I put Sandy. The pre-merge. Technically, Joe is in the merge, but for the sake of the pre-jury gem, he's eligible, but obviously very boring. Yeah. But Sandy, that brings us back to the initial twist of the season where it's like you're going to vote someone off of your tribe, and everybody's like, old lady. And the other tribe is the girl in black and white top. And then it's like, they're going to get to go on the helicopter and skip out on the trek, and then they'll be back at camp, and then they give the whole option to start building your shelter or look for an idol. Mm-hmm. And then we get the whole idol debacle with Sandy from there. She doesn't know what a pace is. I don't know if anyone ever told her.
What is a pace? I don't think she ever found out. I'm not convinced.
Though it's like
I'm not convinced she ever knew.
We had a comment at some point where someone was like, that idol was only good for like the first tribal council she went to. Because we kept thinking like, why isn't she looking for this thing? So, but if that's true, we milked it a little extra. But still funny.
Hey, that's okay. It was still funny to think about. It made an entertaining moments for us. But aside from that, honestly, she's kind of a funny lady. So
yeah,
I liked her. Like I said, I liked her energy. She was just a lot of fun, and stuck in there with the youngins.
Carolina was voted out first. The most notable thing about her is she had this super like chipper voice, and then like was opinionated, I guess, too opinionated, and then she was like, but she like took accountability. She was like, she took the criticism.
She's like, you're right.
Yeah,
you're right. No, you're right. I'm this is wrong. I made a mistake.
But
it's like, wow, good for you. We're still voting you out, though.
Yeah, that's it. It was between her and Sandy. Oh yeah, I remember she had that conversation with Sandy where she was like, basically saying like, it sucks that you're going, and sorry, there's nothing we can do or whatever. Candace was fun, and she got perved on by Coach, and ultimately she just gets voted out, I think, because she consulted in Debbie. You don't want to consult with Debbie about maybe we should get Coach out. I don't like Coach's attitude.
Yeah.
And Debbie ran it right back to him, and that was it.
Yeah, she's a little messenger bird.
You can't just talk to your principal. You can trust that it stays between you and the principal.
No. That had very strong. SpongeBob, I talked with Flats for you. I used your name. Had that strong energy in that one. There's just like, I'm gonna confide in you this information. Oh, okay, great. Hey, Coach, guess what happened?
You know what? I what stood out to me when I looked on here is Jerry. Jerry's smile. Look at that smile he's got going on. He's
That
beaming.
is that he is beaming. Wow, that is a smile and a half.
I feel like that's
Yeah,
something that we could explore more in the future. Like we never really take a look because there are some like weird cast photos. Like it might be fun to go through the
yeah,
cast photos sometime, but
that
you
actually could be
only
fun.
you
Yeah,
just get a little bit here of it with this. But man, they got him like some good. He was laughing, having a good time or something with that photo shoot. But
yeah,
he was
for real.
cool. Like I would have liked to see more of him, but then he was just like, I'm like
I'm
sick, and
sick or
then
yeah,
classic.
yeah, yeah.
But he was cool.
Spencer's just like, I'm the young kid.
Spencer's whole thing
That was
was
it.
that he was gay and he didn't want to say
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
because he's like
Yeah,
strategically he didn't know if that would hurt him, and like with someone like JT, he didn't know how JT would take it
right,
too.
right.
So it's interesting.
Was it? Did he? Was it like him and J? Yeah. Was it him and JT that had sort of a thing starting out? I'm trying to remember this now.
What kind of thing?
Was I not like that kind of a thing, but I mean like, didn't they sort of like pal around a little bit at the beginning? I was trying to remember.
No, I think that was JT
Trying to
and
remember.
Steven throughout the gate. But
I might be thinking of
Spencer
another.
was JT was just frustrated with Spencer because he didn't tackle Tyson in the
Oh
challenge,
yeah,
and he went
or
out there
something. Yeah.
and lost his tooth, and he didn't pull
It-
his weight.
yeah. I lost my tooth. I guess I did. Yeah. I was trying to. I'm trying to. Trying to remember if that was a thing or not, but. Oh, I think I'm thinking of when I think I was like combining that with the thing with like Tyson being like I think coach has a thing for me or
hmm
something. He said something like
Yeah.
that. But
Then we got Sydney, who was the talk of the
mhm,
town because she was flirting heavy with Joe, wearing JT's boxers.
flirting
You
real
know,
heavy. Yeah, that was true. Big time. Bigly. Uh
that was about
yeah,
it.
and yeah. I mean that's she's got a great cast photo.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say
If you peep that
about
little
that.
square, that's a really nice square there.
That's a nice,
Yeah.
it's very good.
And then
Got the head
uh,
tilt.
and then we got Joe, who was medically evacuated at the merge with his damn. He got
Yep.
the fake idol that um Taj had put there, and we never got anything
Yeah.
out of that. So
No,
we went home
that was
like,
pretty
damn, I
good.
have this
Great.
idol. Wish I had passed this off. And then he made out with the doctor on the helicopter, and it went down.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we made our head canon that that Joe got he got
He tragically passed
what's the
on the
he
helicopter
tragically
ride that was supposed
passed
to
away.
save him,
Yeah, right.
but he did mac on the doctor on the way at least. So he was telling the
Well,
doctor that she was the hottest survivor doctor this season, and
yeah.
so that's what got her immediately.
That was his thing, right? The hottest survivor
You're the
chick this
hottest
season.
survivor chick
Right?
this season.
That's a lot of
Crazy. It's a
qualifiers
lot
there,
of
Joe.
it's a heavy qualifier. It's like I can't. I mean, there's a lot of ladies that were on Survivor. I mean, you go out of the season. I
Yeah,
mean, I don't know, but definitely, probably this season, you're the hottest Survivor chick, right?
yeah. Probably. I mean, I
It's
guess so, right?
like, damn, what a way with words, Joe. Joe really just had to do nothing all his life, and he got the ladies. That's how it goes.
Yeah, that's there you go.
Be a boring, attractive white guy, and it just comes to you that easy. You know, you don't even have to have Riz. It just
It's just
no aura needed.
zero.
But yeah, that's our
Yeah,
pre-merge
yeah.
into the early merge here. All right, Sandy, the pre-jury gem.
When
Sandy
when did
Big.
Sandy big time? When did Joe get that injury? I was trying to remember.
He
Let me
got
get
it in
that.
the same injury, the same time that Spencer didn't do well in the challenge, and when JT
Oh yeah,
lost
he
his
got,
tooth, he also
right,
got injured then.
right.
So
Yeah,
he
that's an
let,
injury filled challenge.
yeah. I wonder how he would
Yeah.
even fit in with the dynamic of the merge. Like you never really got to see. Like he had like a little communication with Aaron because they were on Exile one time.
Mm.
That's something we could
Mm.
talk about with the pre-merge. That was a through line of the pre-merge was the Exile alliance that ultimately ended up not being much, but it was a
Yeah.
constant Brendan and Taj meeting up a couple times, and then they looped in Steven and Sierra, kind of, because Brendan didn't
Yeah.
get around to it, didn't fit into his schedule to tell Sierra, but
It's
it
like
got to her.
it's just like I'll get around to telling her. But we're still tight though. It's like
Yeah.
meanwhile it cuts over to Taj. We're not still tight. I don't know what his problem is. I don't know why we haven't
So
talked yet.
there's a lot of intrigue in
Mhm.
the pre-merge about this. Taj was so passionate
Yeah.
about it. Brendan seemingly was as well. And then they get to the merge, and it's like, all right, I guess we're just gonna vote Brendan then. I mean, he hasn't been talking to me. And then they get a free pass when Joe leaves, but and then he starts
Yeah.
talking, but it was too little, too late. So,
Yeah.
and the dragon was slain when you go into the merge. Brendan is the first one out,
Right.
as the
Brendan.
Dragon Slayer was born from that.
This is the Dragon Slayer, the true Dragon Slayer right
But
there.
yeah, then you just see Timbira. I mean, the Tyson and coach really thought they were cooking, putting this alliance together with JT and Steven, but really they just immediately gave them the power, and then just Timbira crumbled from there. It's crazy. It's
Big
crazy. And if
time.
they stuck to their plan, it literally would have been the Jalapao 3 all the way to the end, the 3 coming in
Yeah.
with no numbers. So
They just get rid of Taj for kind of no reason at the end. This is
tough, yeah. Tyson
that's
was a
quite
fun
a moment.
vote out there because he
So
dropped
many
the
moments.
shuffleboard immunity challenge. He's vulnerable.
Yeah. But he had so many great confessional moments.
Yeah,
He's probably the confessional king
yeah.
this
He's
time around. I mean, he just had so many really great moments of like he just knew how to play up everything he was saying to make it like there's always a hint of sarcasm and irony to basically everything he's saying, and it's just super fun
mm-hmm.
and catty in like a really fun way too. So
Yeah.
um,
He's got
yeah.
the dry humor and like sarcasm that I appreciate as well.
Hmm.
So yeah, he's a standout for sure. Even being sniped relatively early into the merge, but yeah, the Warriors alliance was short lived. Even though Coach still thought it was going strong for some time. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have the
Yeah.
whole Sierra mess with
Still don't know
everybody
why she
hates
was hated.
Sierra. Yeah. Everybody
I
hates
love how they were
Sierra.
like, "We're gonna address it here in the finale, in the reunion. We'll address why did everyone hate Sierra, and then they didn't address it like at all. So we
Yeah,
still don't really know why everyone hated her.
for sure. So
She seemed fine. Like I didn't, I she. There's some interesting, fun moments with her. I mean, I'm always gonna remember the talk she and Coach had. I thought that was pretty sweet. You know,
cinema.
pretty like dope. It was cinema. It was like it was really great. She's like sobbing, and the coach is just like, I'm passing on my wisdom to you, even though I'm also going to be cutting you down at the knees, you
She's
know,
breaking
that
my
kind of thing.
heart. Yeah. It's like, would I be the woman that you think I am if I were to just lay down and die and give up? It's like so dramatic. It was
It
juicy.
was extremely dramatic. It was like, dang, you writing a script? You guys writing a movie
Yeah.
right now? That's
Now Debbie, the school principal, I didn't really fuck with her vibe too much. She's like one of the probably my least favorite of the merge group. I don't know, just not didn't do it for me.
um yeah, I don't know. She was she always felt like to me it was always like what's the way to I'm trying to think of like a good comparison. I don't know. Sometimes when I hear people like try to argue, for something, they don't actually have a real principle behind what they're arguing.
Oh,
The
principal.
the article, hey, yeah, it kind of fits here. They don't have a principle behind what they're arguing. It's like it shifts based on their own whims,
Yeah.
the own whims of their own personal morality. That's what she felt like to me. It's like you didn't actually have like a real like feeling or strategy. It was always like this is right because I say it's right, and it's like you do something that's wrong. Well, it's like, well, obviously it's wrong because it wrongs me in
Yeah.
some way, and it's
Mhm.
like, oh, but you did the same thing to someone else. You didn't tell them. It's like, well, that's totally different because I did it,
Yeah, with the whole
and it's like,
Sierra thing is just not a
huh?
good look with how she
Yeah,
handled it.
basically
And
everything
that
was,
the
yeah,
hand. We are
yeah,
done. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
But,
it's like, dang, I don't want a school principal that doesn't listen to me like that, you know?
but
Just
then she had her little
um
moment where she was like, "Okay, I'm gonna turn on Coach because I'm annoyed by him and
yeah.
whatever." Even though her offer is like, "I'll go if I go to the final three with you two, win the final immunity. I'll give it to one of you guys, so you can go without me."
Right.
Absolutely.
And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, what? What do you mean?
And then
Sure.
Coach's vote out is one of the most iconic. People still bring it up as like one of their favorite episodes of Survivor ever. The trip to exile and everything that
It's,
unfolds to his
it was
demise.
amazing. It was
Yeah,
actually it was cinema. It was
cinema.
absolute cinema. It was for real.
Even
I
with
mean,
some of the
it
shots
was a
out on the
very
dunes,
entertaining.
man, with him
Yeah.
his cane out there. But then just so many good confessionals and even just the juiciness of how he came back from that. It was so dramatic about everything, how injured he was, and he starved himself,
Oh, yeah.
and then in the challenge, ah,
Yeah, yeah. And then and then he wrote a poem too.
that's true. On his way out,
He wrote a poem. Yeah.
late in the but
And
he was ultimately slain by the warrior. The warrior JT
yeah,
beat him in the
that's right.
challenge.
That's right. The warrior
It's
and the
poetic.
wizard, they
Be the
they
wizard,
struck
Stephen.
down the coach. The wizard,
Be the wizard.
be the
Yeah.
wizard.
So I mean, there's
But
not
yeah,
enough to
yeah,
say about Coach. He's got so many crazy moments this
yeah,
season.
yeah, for real. Um,
Just constant
I
gold.
mean, yeah, we could talk for probably an hour about all the all the weird stuff that Coach
Yeah, and
did,
if I told you they were looking at my ass, talking about eating my ass,
eating my
yeah.
ass. Yeah, is the most insane stories. I love like where he's telling that, and the only person that says anything, Brendan, is like, "Wow, that's crazy." Like, and he said it in like a way that was like, "I don't believe you, but keep talking, please." This is
hmm
weird. Yeah.
Taj, Taj has some great moments, especially the when Eddie George and the cell phone moment where she
Hmm.
like grabs
Oh yeah,
onto
she
Jeff.
shakes
Yeah.
Jeff. So good. Um, yeah, the conjugal visit
hmm
that she talks about. Um, yeah, but she was just a lot of fun to have around. I mean, she was you know, strategist working with Steven pretty early on, you know.
Yeah,
Um
and they had the whole
and
thing between the Exile Alliance and then like the idol knowledge between them early on, where it's like
right.
I ended up going to Steven early on because he
Mm,
had pockets at the time, so that's
yeah.
he could
Right.
put it in his
You get
pocket.
the
And then
That's right.
it was like, should I tell JT? And Steven's like, I don't think we get anything from that. And then JT looks in the bag and sees the idol,
Yeah,
and
he just
Steven's like,
sees it like right sitting
I
on the
think you
top.
should tell JT about the idol.
I think you should probably tell him because I mean he knows, so you know. He
So,
literally saw it in the bag. It was just sitting there. You didn't even try to hide it. It was just like sitting out in the open on top of your bag. You just
mhm.
happened to like look in and see it. So
But she was very fun energy, and she was very loyal to the fact she didn't even see that
mm,
coming, that they would snub her like that the final three,
Yeah,
the beautiful Jalapao 3 storyline.
yeah.
But
We
they
had
just,
to. We instead got Aaron
Aaron.
stuck in there instead.
How do you feel about
Um,
Aaron?
Aaron was funny. She was kind of. She sort of reminded me a little bit of Amanda energy at certain times, but not as interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. She's like one of those ones that like pre-merge. I forgot that she existed for most of it, and it was really only in like the latter half of the season, like the latter half of the merge season.
Really, the
Like
end game,
basically
yeah.
with like the yeah towards the end game, and she started to be a little bit more interesting of a person. I was like, oh, this is like I think there was like one episode towards the end where I was like, oh, wow, Erin's actually like coming into her own finally as like an actual living human being.
And then the final
So
three, she was really trying to sow the seeds,
yeah,
between them to
yeah,
be like, you should take me.
yeah. So
But ultimately, she
and
probably
and it kind of
loses to
worked.
either of them, though. So I don't know.
Yeah,
We don't know
yeah,
for sure with her and Steven, but it seems like probably because people were even going into Final Tribal thinking about voting for Steven over JT. So,
right,
yep. So then we have Steven,
right.
JT, or the duo of the season, working hand in
Hmm.
hand the whole time.
Buddies, and I like how they even talk about how like they didn't neither of them not really knew what to make of each other when they first met,
Mm-hmm.
but it was like after like a few hours of getting to know each other, they were just like, oh yeah, this is the guy. Like I can trust this guy.
Yeah, very
So.
different backgrounds, but their
Mhm.
their styles almost complemented each other in the game, to where they were able to
Yeah,
collaborate. And that's something we saw throughout the season. They were always collaborating on their next move. And it's like whatever
yeah,
they wanted to do, they could
always,
go make
always,
it happen if they wanted to. So they tossed ideas
yeah.
around.
But they're always in conversation with each other. That's why, like, that's why I think that's why another reason I liked the season was just because it was just, yeah, it was like a collaborative effort between the two of them, which is always fun to see. Um,
Yeah.
JT being kind of the peaceful sort of like calming presence. He's still very much thinking about the strategy of everything. To Steven's more like I got to get all the logistics down. I gotta, we gotta crunch the numbers and think it, as opposed to just the no, we tackle this issue this way.
Mm-hmm.
It's because like I mean their backgrounds almost inform the way that they think about things too. So
Yeah, and
um,
it's like Steven's like the fish out of water type, and GT's like, oh,
mhm,
I'm an outdoorsy guy anyway, so
right,
it's more natural to him. But then GT, yeah, Steven had more of the strategically oriented confessionals and everything we saw from him. And
mhm,
then JT just had the aura that never ended, and everybody throwing
yeah,
themselves at his feet to be in an alliance with him, to get him far. Brendan wanted to see him at the end and win. So,
yeah. Everybody was including like family members of people on
yeah, yeah.
Sierra being like he's one of the greatest people I've ever met in my entire life, and it's like
Meanwhile,
oh.
JT's like, yeah, we hate Sierra too. Yeah.
Yeah, we ate her. She's the worst. Like, okay, cool. I don't know what she still don't know what she did, but
But then JT wins. He gets every vote in the end. Never received a vote against him either. So,
hmm
not too
yeah,
shabby. Not too shabby.
not bad
Now,
at all.
Alec's favorite player. Write down my prediction. Curious to see where do you land with it. Who are you thinking? Is it a clear answer to you?
I think I've said it. I think I'd said it probably a couple of times. I like a lot of the players this time around.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I could go like really weird with it, but I think I do have to stick with Steven. Steven's my favorite.
Steven.
Um,
I knew it. I know
he's
your
he's
type.
if you know my type pretty well. I love the strategist. I love the the thinky guys. Fish out of water is also just a really fun thing especially when they can find somebody that they really like can hang with and relate to, and it really, which is interesting, like relate to in on like a a friendship level and like a compatibility level,
Yeah.
as opposed to like relating in terms of life experience, because they have very different life experiences. But um, it's just, I don't know. It's like they both like made each other better through the experience, and that's fun to see. But Steven's the type of player that I always gravitate towards in terms of entertainment. The people I like to root for sure.
Yeah.
So
He's good to root for sure. I wasn't sure. I defaulted to that.
mhm.
But throughout the season, it's like Coach is easily the most essential
Yeah,
casting choice here. But it's
that
like, would you say that he's your favorite? I didn't know if that's something you would say,
yeah.
but
That was kind of my dark. That was what I referred to. I was like, I could get weird with it and say Coach, because Coach is just the endless string of entertainment through the season. But yeah,
it's hard to
I get
fully
it. I
say
gotta
that's
go with
your
my boy Steve.
favorite because he's not like
Yeah,
self-aware or doing it intentionally. So he's just
yeah,
like as a character. But I think he probably
right.
would be my favorite of the season if I were to
Yeah,
pick one. It would be him, and probably Tyson is actually my other one. Um,
Tyson's really high up there for me too. Actually, that's actually probably top three is those three. I'm gonna say. I mean, I like JT as a really likable guy. But in terms of like pure full package survivor, I think it for me. It is Steven, Coach, and Tyson. I think, yeah.
yeah.
So
Okay, fair enough. Survivor Superlatives, that just leaves Cutie of the season and an MVP. All right.
mhm.
Cutie of the season, obviously not that prestigious of an award, but
It's fun. It's just a fun little thing. Fun little thing.
who would you give your Cutie of the season?
You may have. This is actually kind of a toughie, because we do have multiple beautiful women in this season. I may have given the game away early on, because I think I went on a weird monologue on an earlier episode about this.
Mm-hmm.
But it's Sydney.
Yeah, I
Sid,
forgot. I really forgot about her
yeah,
when I was doing this. So I just said
yeah.
Sierra, but
Sierra is a runner up because she was with it for longer.
I
But
forget.
like,
Like I forgot about. I almost like
yeah,
forgot about her entirely. Like I skimmed over
me
her. 'Cause it's like
too.
pre-jury.
Me me too. If we hadn't been going through this, I would have said Sierra. And then I remembered seeing Sydney. I was like, oh yeah, no.
The
I
hottest
have a
Survivor
type.
chick this season. There you go.
Yeah. So it's just an uncomfortable reminder of, she looked very much like the first person I dated. So
Mm-hmm.
even though those aren't the most positive memories in the world, and I'm pretty sure she hates my guts, there's still some positivity there, in terms of like, I had a good time, and I hopefully she did sometimes too. And yeah, I mean, that's my type to a degree. I mean, I like all kinds. I think women are beautiful. So women are pretty. This just in.
Hot take.
Hot take. Women are beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
and so yeah. But a lot of beautiful women this season, I will say.
Yeah.
So
So for the
that's it.
MVP,
That's my pick.
the MVP is the last award here, and that's the one that's been tabulated all season long, where Alec is awarded
Mm,
MVP for every individual episode. So sometimes it doesn't iron out to perfectly who the MVP of the season is. It's just because there's some like weaker episodes where it's like, I guess it's this person, whatever, and that might tip the
right.
scale.
Yeah.
But yeah, essentially, whoever got the most MVPs throughout the season is the MVP.
I bet I could guess.
Guess it.
It's Coach.
It is Coach
Is it not? Yeah.
and
Is he
Taj.
tied?
Tied.
And Taj. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. That's good. Good. That's a
Tied.
good tie right
There's
there.
actually like a lot
Yeah.
of spread around votes. They each
Hmm.
had 3, and then
Hmm.
JT and Tyson had 2.
Hmm.
I don't know if how many Steven got, but yeah, there was a bunch sprinkled throughout as well. So so it was like Coach, Taj 3 each, Tyson, JT
JT.
with 2, but yeah, It's also interesting because as the season goes on, there's less options. So when you get down to a few
Right.
people, you can only pick one of those. So they're gonna have the edge
Right.
over earlier
Yeah.
people. But it makes sense. Coach, yeah, I thought it would clearly be Coach, but it was actually
Yeah.
close between all of them.
Well, I think Taj had some pretty solid moments earlier on in the season.
Yeah,
Really good confessionals, really butting heads with people in like a very entertaining way. Good stuff.
there you go.
Yeah.
Those are the superlatives. So the only other things I predicted I'll address in our ranking video when we do that, because I tried to guess where you put the winner, where you put the season. We'll see how that goes. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Pros and cons of the season overall. We talked about it a lot in general, but if you were to give like broad strokes, what are the major pros and cons of the season?
Pros are, I think, just the very entertaining core cast, and by that I mean like Coach. I mean just Coach. There you go. You get Coach. I mean, you have him, and then all his little like his alliances that he's made kind of covers the thrust of a lot of the season.
Yeah.
Him and Tyson, Tyson, Steven, and JT, and it's like boom, there you go. You already have your threads there because then you've been Steven and Taj, and then he's kind of a weird glue that holds a lot of things together in some weird way. There's a lot that revolves around Coach, even though Coach himself is not in control, despite
Yeah.
the fact that he thinks he is.
Yeah, he's got his controller
That's just
unplugged, and he's doing really well. He's
he's
doing really well in there.
he's just yeah. I mean, he's marching to the beat of his own drum the whole time, but he thinks that he's drumming everyone's beat.
Yeah.
It's just like he's just such a fascinating person, and I still don't get him. I still don't understand him, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, just like that whole arc, that whole thrust of the season just made it infinitely entertaining. I mean, like that's because it also helped inform decisions that Steven and JT made based on kind of the things he was thinking and doing and how he was acting in a lot of it. So but yeah, I think a lot of the just the through thrust of JT and Steven is just a very fun thing to watch. Like two guys from different walks of life becoming like really close friends and making their way through the season together, having a little bit of a kerfuffle at the end and kind of butting heads a little bit.
Drama at the end, yeah.
A little drama at the end, it's you got to have your little bit of drama in there, and then ending as a result. I would say I think the con would be just be a little like I think we said very kind of underwhelming or sort of rote or boring pre-jury. That can be a con in a lot of seasons, but some seasons it's not always that way. There's still something to be had there, but there wasn't a lot to say about most of those people just because of like illness and like it was like illness and evac was like how two of them were basically gone. I mean, technically he wasn't sent home due to illness with Jerry.
Yeah.
But they sent him home basically because
illness,
of that.
evac, and elderliness.
Yeah.
That was crazy how Sandy made such a bad first impression on the tribe by being old, though. That was a really bad move.
By being old. Yeah, it's just like, wow, you're really old. Good job.
It was crazy how Jeff was like scolding her. He was like, I wouldn't be so smiling if I were you. You made a bad first impression on these guys. He's like, yeah, they just wrote down old like, lady.
Old lady.
You didn't even know me.
You made yeah, that's crazy. And then after a couple of like early moves, it was just kind of like, oh yeah, it's just we're getting rid of Timbira. That's it. That's what we're doing in this season.
But it was kind of crazy how they still found ways to like Timbira, the like coach, and Debbie still didn't know. Like they kept pulling the wool over their eyes even after they just voted Tyson out without telling them. They're like, "Oh, thank you for doing that.
That was epic.
Thank you for not telling me." And then it's like another thing, and it's like still they're like, all right, we're all in on the Warriors, all right?
Okay.
I know it was crazy how like Coach would be so openly like, I know I shake his hand, he's a man of his word, look him in the eyes, and then just immediately blindsides him, and then clearly was
Yep.
lying to him all along, and then goes back to camp and is like, oh, okay, I understand. Yeah, you had to get Tyson out, and it's good that you didn't tell me. But I'm glad we're still in the Warriors Alliance, and
yeah, we're still here. We're still here, and it's us. Yeah. So I'd say that was definitely probably the biggest con of the season was just those two things. Another pro, and it's just give it up to the scouting. That Exile Island was awesome.
Yeah.
That the dune that's emerging out of the land was, yeah, so cool. So cool. Like just great.
Yeah.
Yeah, cue the dune every single
Yeah,
time
they get
that
some
shows up.
nice shots. I mean, if you go back to that Exile episode
Yeah.
with Coach, they just get some great sweeping shots
Yeah.
of him like out there with his staff, like he's in the middle of Lord of the Rings or something. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
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 I think that about covers it. Here are a couple Survivor couples. Just here are a couple Survivor couples. So there's a couple of Survivor couples that came out of this in relation to other Survivor players that we've seen. But
interesting.
I just wanted to preface there formally so you didn't get too excited like, oh, they're still together.
Yeah.
But it was the last a few years each, I'd say.
Yeah.
The first one.
You date, you fall in love, you fight, and
Todd Spencer.
Okay, cool.
This one I didn't even know about until looking at the comments and questions and stuff. I think Josh was the one who brought this up. So I didn't even know this was a thing. But I guess there was a couple of years or so they did.
Okay.
So that's one.
Okay.
This next couple is interesting right here.
Okay, so we get Amanda and Stephen.
Who's Amanda? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Huh?
Amanda?
Yeah, wasn't that her name from China?
No. That's what was confused when you were talking about Aaron being like Amanda too. Amanda's doe eyes.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, why do I have this? Courtney.
How dare you?
How dare I? Indeed. How dare I? Indeed. Well, see, here's the thing. I flipped back to China, and I saw Amanda. I was like, oh yeah, Amanda, and I didn't read down below further. Courtney. I was like, oh yeah, Courtney.
How can you not remember Amanda, the iconic queen who made it to the end 2 seasons in a row?
I know. Well, I thought I was like, well, there's been multiple Amandas. I don't know, man. I it's late. Blame it's late.
No.
Maybe it's Courtney. Here's the thing. There's so many names now. I actually am like I'm starting to reach a point. I don't know how people remember all these names. I don't know. There's a lot of names. That's why I have to flip in my book.
I'm good with names. I think I'm pretty good with them. After almost 50
Courtney.
seasons. Yeah. Yeah, Courtney and Steven, they were together for like 3 years, I think. So.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So 2 China cross Tocantins couples here.
Yeah, that's interesting. Was there like, I don't know, was there like a mixer or something where they're like, hey, Tocantins, China, let's go. Like,
I don't know. I mean, they're kind of close in the season time, so they're within the community around that time, I guess. It's coincidence they happen to both be these 2 seasons, but this is an interesting couple we got there. Yeah,
that is an interesting couple. I love how they're both wearing horn-rimmed glasses in the second picture here.
Yeah,
kind of cute. Courtney looking fire in that first picture though. Dang.
All right. Well, that's the couple. I meant literally a couple Survivor couples.
That's a couple of couples. All right. Yeah. That's interesting. Interesting that there's the double crossover there, huh?
Yeah. Post game content. And this is where I bring in a couple juicy little details, or whatever. Not too many.
I love that.
But I guess I'll preface this by saying, usually when I'm thinking about what I should bring up, I'm like, a lot of times I want to bring it up around the time it actually happened, or like closer in the Survivor timeline. Like if something happened in 2018 and this is 2009, it's like I don't know if I want to bring it up now or like wait.
Yeah.
But I feel like since you are not being able to watch certain things or look up stuff, I should at least give you a bone here or there. And so I mentioned Rob Cisternino has a podcast that you can't look at, but he's still doing a
Right.
podcast to this day. And he's been doing also a podcast with Stephen Fishback for
okay.
about 12 years now. They've done Survivor Know-It-Alls, what they're called. So
Okay.
so
That's fun.
just a fun little piece. I listen to their podcast like every week when a new Survivor episode comes out. They have a new episode, so it's cool.
That's fun.
Cool little collaboration between Rob Cisternino and Stephen Fishback. It's interesting little duo here. But yeah.
Similar in a lot of ways, I think. I think that's why I gravitated towards towards Steven here. So
yeah, this is like
a
newer picture of Rob too. I don't know. You haven't seen him since.
Yeah, I don't think I had. Yeah, looking good. Filling out that facial hair pretty good there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I don't know when exactly this was. Probably still a few years ago, but yeah. All right, what's next? Oh, so this is from 2018. This is at Steven's wedding. And so we have JT and Taj were there. A couple other Survivor players were also there. But just like, basically just to say that JT and Steven are still really close to this day. So
great. Love cool. That.
So
I love that Taj showed up too. It's great. Yeah.
So this was like
that community's it's pretty special that they can all still remain, friendly or even friends. You're not just friendly, but staying close.
Yeah, this is because like they filmed it in 2008, and there's still at least JT and Steven especially are so close to this day. Like I'll still hear him bring him up a lot. So that's like almost 2 decades closing in on.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome. Love to see that.
Are you familiar with Bare Naked, this brand?
I feel like I have seen this brand. Yeah. I feel like I've seen this brand around.
So this is a fun fact I did not know somehow in all my time, and this is thanks to Josh as well for bringing this to my attention. That Brendan was a co-founder of Bare Naked in 2002. Him and his partner reportedly sold this company to Kellogg's for $80 million. And so he came into this season and kind of recontextualizes things, like being willing to let JT win potentially in the end. Kind of makes more sense. If he was really just like, I don't need the money, I would be happy to see this guy in the end.
Yeah. The fact that he was a multi-millionaire? Yeah.
That's wild. Because this is a big brand that I still see every freaking grocery store all the time. So.
Yeah. I've definitely seen that brand around. I mean, that bear. I've seen that bear for sure. Mm-hmm. The Bare Naked Bear. There he is.
So that's wild that he was just like.
Yeah.
Especially the fact that he was sitting on the information. He never brings it up, like on even a confessional, once. Not in the reunion, nothing. It's like, it's like a pretty big deal, but cool.
Yeah. Wow. That's pretty cool.
There you go.
How about that?
Because like they would talk about how he's like businesses, like I manage businesses or something. I forget what he said that he did. What's next? Questions and comments here.
All right.
All right. So there's most of the stuff has actually been touched on just when stuff I was planning to bring up anyway. But let's see what else we got. So Josh brings up that a lot of coaches' claims this season are not verified. The only thing that is really confirmed is that he did go kayaking down the Amazon River at some point, but any embellishments he made to that story are unverified. But he's also said the story he told on the show is the PG-13 version. Even more than talking about his ass and eating his ass.
There's
more that he couldn't share. Oh my goodness!
Wow, an R or X-rated?
Yeah. So I
that
guess, I
they.
don't know how it was confirmed or when that was confirmed that he did go kayaking down the Amazon River, but take your word for it.
I do like the fact that it's like, yes, all that, none of that stuff is verifiable, and it's like, yeah, I know that's what makes them lies.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that's or rather, it's what makes them interesting truth claims because you can't verify them. Therefore, that makes
Exactly.
them inherently
Yeah, you
suspicious.
can't even Google this shit. You can't even Google this
Yeah.
shit. It's not. It's so under the radar. They routinely talk about how Taj is married to Eddie George this season. However, they never talk about how she was a famous singer as a part of the R&B band Singers Without Voices. She was nominated for Grammys and sold over 6 million records. She also said after the season she had no idea Survivor was so real and had zero desire to ever play again. Yeah. So
That's fair. I get it.
I
I
mean, they
think,
briefly like they say she was like a former singer, right, or former
yeah,
pop star or something.
that's. I think that's actually what shows up whenever
In the
it's
lower third.
whenever her name shows up. Yeah,
Yeah, but
but um, but yeah, they don't like talk about that a ton. I wonder if they're just like. I wonder if they were like, the audience, none of the kids, none of the audience knows any of this. Remember that because it was a group in the was a group in the 90s.
yeah, I'm not sure. Probably.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, to be honest, I don't know the I didn't know the pop or the R&B scene of that period, so like I wouldn't have known. I don't. You said the name, and I still don't really
Yeah.
know that.
Well, I didn't know who Eddie George
So
was either. So
I'd heard the name. I don't specifically know like, oh yeah, Eddie George, but I was like, yeah, he's a sports guy. But I don't even remember what he played. Like it's like I
yeah,
guess he's a football guy. I don't know. So
yeah. But yeah, thanks to Josh for bringing up a couple things. The that Spencer and
yeah.
Todd were together. The
Hmm.
Brendan thing I didn't know about. So
Yeah. Cool. Always good to
random
have those experts in there.
Random Rex commented, "The GT's perfect win is often remarked on, but I'm curious as to how Steven ranks as a runner-up for you."
Very high. I mean, I think I made it clear. Steven's one of my favorite players
Mm-hmm.
this season for sure. I mean, is my favorite player this season. Um, I think as I think JT's charm is undeniable, and I think that his tenacity, his ability to just sort of have everybody like him was basically what won him the
Mm-hmm.
two of the friendship. Spent Steven Spencer. Steven was the villain, and JT was the kindly face. Even while both of them did underhanded stuff, um, it's just something about as we've talked about many times throughout our reactions, is JT's aura is just like
Yeah.
is just he's just out there. Um,
And Steven always
he's
talked
got
about how
something
they shared a
you feel
brain
like.
throughout the season, essentially. And I thought it was actually
Hmm.
refreshing that JT was like, "Oh yeah, I totally understood that he would want to take me out at the end because it's different because I benefit from us staying loyal to each other." So he like fully
Yeah,
acknowledges that yeah, it made sense for him to do that. So he probably wouldn't have been as offended as he would have thought. And then he played it up in Final
yeah,
Tribal and everything.
right, right.
But yeah, Steven I
Because
think is a really
you gotta play.
solid. He's a really solid runner up in terms of the game he played. It's one of the most solid ones we've seen before.
Yeah,
That if he'd like won that last challenge and voted Aaron out, potentially he's or
hmm,
voted JT out, he's potentially the winner here. That close,
yeah,
so it's a rarefied air. I feel like.
yeah,
Um, and Random Rex also says, "How disappointing was the lack of payoff for the Exile Alliance?"
yeah. It was a bit of a bummer. I really felt like there was a lot of build up to it. Like it really felt like something was gonna come from that. I, f- I don't know. It almost would have made the season more. Maybe would have made the mid game of the season, which already was maybe the most interesting part of the season in terms of strategy. That would have made it a lot more spicy, maybe more interesting because you would have had more the rogue element at play there, because then you'd have Brendan involved a little bit more, and it's Brendan Sierra,
Yeah.
and so then you would then have to have JT and Steven having to make decisions about what to do with them since they're part of their alliance, rather than getting rid of Brendan and then being like, well, we can get Sierra on our side because nobody likes her. Like that kind of a thing. So I don't know. It was a bummer though. I think that like inter tribe, we hadn't really seen anything quite that in depth, because I mean we obviously have like tribe swaps and stuff like that all the time, and we see kind of that played with a little bit. But this was like the first time at least from like really like fresh, like off the top of my head. It's the first time we really had like inter-tribe like dealings where it's like, yeah, once we'll have this alliance here, and then when we go to the merge, where we will stay connected across the tribes,
Yeah.
even though we're on opposite things. So never really seen anything quite like that before, and then just seeing it completely fizzle out immediately was a huge bummer.
Because you spend so much of the pre-merge, that's the entire, like, the big
That's
focus.
it.
And it's like
Yeah.
Exile, that's a big thing in this season. It's Exiles here again. And then it's like,
Yeah.
ultimately, all that doesn't matter when it comes down to it.
Yeah.
All the talk that they have every time they go to Exile, all the planning, getting Steven and Sierra in on it. But it's almost like the wind was taken out of the sails immediately when you go to the merge, and before Brendan even talks to them about the Exile Alliance, Coach and Tyson are already offering up a cross-tribal alliance just with
Yeah.
JT and Steven already. So it's like...
Yeah. This is like, we gotta get the Warriors together.
So it's like Steven is like, oh, I
Warriors.
don't really need the Exile Alliance, I guess. And then when Taj isn't hearing back from them, it's like, well, by proxy, I don't really need that anymore. And then, but Brendan's probably thinking, well, I don't really need the Exile Alliance because we got the numbers on my tribe, so I'm not too pressed about it. And then that's it. And then he tries to pull it together, but it was already in place against him. You know, he was trying to do it against Coach, but no.
And that's unforgivable. You don't go against Coach.
Not someone of that character, you know.
It's just
Last thing from Random Rex, he said, preseason Jeff hyped Coach as being, quote, our best casting find since Rupert. Would you agree?
That's an interesting claim. And it's a weird claim, but I think I would agree. And it's simply for the fact of entertainment value.
Yeah.
I think Rupert is like, Coach is not a likable person. Far from it. But Coach is an extremely entertaining person. Rupert is a very likable person and also an extremely entertaining person. And that's the difference. At least in terms of, obviously some of this is just there's stuff in editing, obviously. There's stuff that happens in there. But in terms of what we see, I think even what we've seen of them during reunions and stuff, Rupert is just an unbelievably likable person. He's just kind of like a giant teddy bear, in a lot of ways, like that we see. Just a sunny personality, a funny guy, a kind of a weird perspective on things.
Pirates pillage, pirates steal.
Yeah. And then we get Coach, who's like probably the world's greatest compulsive liar. It's just...
I feel like we're so far removed from our original Rupert experience. It's like,
yeah,
he used to be like our gem that we'd always go back to. Like, I never heard of such an animal.
And that's good. I never heard of such an animal. I know I use that quote in my daily life.
And the roar,
I never heard of such an animal.
The roar and the, I mean, it's just like Coach, the primal yell.
The primal yell. Yeah, it is true. Coach does have a primal yell. Well, Coach also got the O Fortuna call out.
Yeah,
that was epic. That was like, is that?
Yeah, well, this is the difference between Rupert and Coach. Is Rupert is,
yeah,
they're both like are very big and like they define the season almost in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
but Rupert is
Yeah.
like the main character that you're actually supposed to be rooting for, like protagonists. And he's like,
Hmm.
it's like a Shakespearean tragedy when he gets voted out,
Yeah.
and Coach is not that. Coach is just like a big, larger than life character that
Yeah.
like he's very he's golden in content, but it's not like, oh man, what a tragic episode when Coach got voted out. It's like, no, that was perfect.
No,
It
it's a
was
great episode.
it was just poetic, and he just
Yeah.
made a fool of
It
himself at so many different points. But
it he almost feels like a tall tale. Like he tells a lot of tall tales, but he feels like a tall
he
tale
is one.
himself. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like it's like you think of like a Paul Bunyan, and it's like then you get Coach. He's right in the Hall of Fame. John Henry is right in the Hall of Fame, right next to him. There he is.
yeah, it's true. So I do kind of agree. Since Rupert, I feel like that's true. In terms of
Yeah,
a casting choice, a singular
yeah.
casting
No,
choice.
I
Yeah.
would agree. I would agree with that. And yeah, also to touch on the runner up one more time. I was also thinking back on like just like past runner ups throughout the I mean like fantastic. I mean I think that I think there was a previous season where it was like, yeah, either of these people could win and I would be okay with that. Um but this one in particular was really like they were both extremely deserving of being there. I mean, they both ran the season together, So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I don't know, really good stuff.
And Chase Ferrier says this was, in a way, a back to basics season in the same way China was. A final two,
Mm.
16-person cast, and no tribe swap for the first time since Palau. Did the season benefit from having all three of these factors again? Or is it more enjoyable the more recent, the newer structure with the bigger cast that we have been seeing?
I, I don't know. I think it worked. Because I think my problems with the season, I like that it was more basic. Because my problems with the season were more in the sense that like, I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking. Let me think about that for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Because like, would more shakeups have made the early game maybe a little bit more interesting? And maybe they would have. That's possible. I like the smaller cast. I think the final two is really good. Because it allows just a little bit more focus on everything. Um,
No tribe swap? You like no tribe swap this time?
well, here's the thing. I don't know what tribes because we were already having intertribal discussion
Yeah.
like that
I feel like
happening.
that's probably
Would
why.
tribes would tribe swap have ruined some of that intrigue? It might
Or would
have.
it have actually
Um,
gotten something going? Maybe.
that's the thing. It would have benefited it more.
Or
It might have benefited it more.
would we have had JT taken out in Marcus fashion, like it's screwed in like a grouping, and then
Oh,
just
that would.
get
Oh,
voted out?
that,
You know?
yeah, yeah. So it's like that's one of those things where it's like random rules. It's like one of those things where it's just like the luck of the draw can sometimes actually like ruin kind of the
Yeah.
entertainment value on that
Tribe
because
swaps,
like it could have
like, yeah.
enhanced it or it could have made it much worse. It's very hard to say.
You're tough with that because, yeah, you can say that for about a lot of the Survivor seasons with swaps. Some are made much better because of them. Some are, you feel like you're screwing someone over just like with a bad
Mm,
draw. But, yeah. In general, it's a good element to have so people keep people on their
yeah,
toes and not just be like, these are my people. I'm just sticking with them forever.
right.
Be more open to mixing it up. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
if we hadn't had the intrigue of the Exile Alliance, it would have been pretty dull. So I
Yeah.
think there is a benefit to having that tribe swap. But in this season, it worked. In this season, it worked not having that because we already had that intrigue. Even though, as we discussed, it did end up kind of being a bit of a dud because it just didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Um,
But yeah, it's stuff like
but
that. It might have been a dud, but we can always be results oriented about it because You know,
Right.
it doesn't need to succeed every time just to be a good idea. But
Right.
he also says, was it nice to return to competent game playing after Gabon? How dare you? How
Yes.
dare you, sir?
Yes. Yes, it was. It was extremely entertaining. Even though, like I said, even though it was sort of like towards the end, it became sort of a predictable thing. Um, Still nice to see some classic strategy being
Yeah.
employed and having things work. And
Thanks to our Jalapao 3, really. And then like a little
yeah,
bit of Aaron.
yeah,
But on
yeah.
coach's side, not so competent. But yeah,
No,
at least
not so
because, yeah,
much.
if you go to Gabon, you know, I always thought it was a little overplayed how people said the strategy was so bad. But it really is the fact that there's no constant, like, person you can rely on to be strategically competent in that season. Even the
No.
people you get to the end, like if I might think Sugar deserved to win more, but
Hmm.
like I'm not gonna say she was the most strategically competent. And even Ken and Crystal, they have their weird blunders for no reason after like most of
Right.
the season being pretty strategically competent. So yeah, it's nice to see.
Yeah. What a final three. Susie, Bob, and Sugar.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh man, what a crazy, what a crazy time
He says, "How does the
that
Jalapao
Super Bowl was.
3? How does the Jalapao 3 stack up against some of the best alliances of all time? Tagi 4, Black Widow Brigade, I-24, etc." So, Black Widow Brigade, iconic. I-24 is
Is extremely
from
iconic.
Cook Islands. That's the Yule, Becky, Sundra, Ozzy.
I mean, this one's way up there. I would definitely put this one. The Jalapeno 3 is pretty high for me. I think. I mean, we're fresh off the season, but like
Yeah,
they, I mean, they really they had control of the whole game, and they
when they shouldn't have.
they were able to
Yeah.
make if, and they shouldn't have, and but they made it work. Um, and I think really a lot of that has to do with their charm, like their personality. It was strategy with a smile in a lot of ways.
Hmm.
Um, you get to win people over, um, in that regard, in a pretty interesting way. And yeah, I mean, I think the Black Widow Brigade. I think that may always be the top because like, I mean, come on,
Yeah, I think
that's so great.
that's got to be the best. Is the Black Widow Brigade.
Yeah, yeah.
I-24 is also like it's a similar vibe to the Jalapao 3 in that they shouldn't have had the
Mhm.
numbers and they did, or they came
Yeah,
in and made it happen. That was more with some other things like Yule's maneuver with the idol and all that. But
right.
yeah, so he also mentioned Tagi 4. That's the original alliance from Borneo
The original, the OG. Yeah,
with Richard, Sue, Kelly, and Rudy. So,
that's right.
but yeah. So Black Widow Brigade for me, but it's hard to beat that.
Yeah,
It's hard to.
yeah. I think it is for me too. But this is definitely a high contender for runner up
Solid.
for me. I think.
Was it enjoyable having a character dominate the season from an editing perspective? I'm assuming he means coach in terms of
I
editing.
think so. I think so. Yeah. I mean, yeah. It benefited the season tremendously. I mean, I think it makes it stand out. Like I'm gonna always just think about.
This
I'm
is
always gonna
the
think about
season
this
with
the
coach.
crazy stories. The season with Coach. It's like all the stories he told, all the phenomenal camera work around him and his antics and his posing and his maneuvers,
Hmm.
and that the epic exile defeat and the meditation, and then the defeat at the challenge where he falls down and he can't get back up, and it's like the freaking Yamcha meme
Yeah,
where he's crumpled on the
exactly.
ground. It's like
You
it's
can't
so
beat
good.
that. You got like if they
You,
were to be like, oh no, we need to edit this more evenly, we'd be leaving so much gold on the cutting room floor.
yeah,
Like you got to give
yeah,
us coach, and we still got enough amount, like enough
yeah.
of like rational strategy and stuff in there as well.
Right,
So it's not like it's just all coach, but it's just gold
right.
every
Because
time we
there
see
was
it.
one episode. There was one episode where we're like, wow, Coach was really not. He wasn't really in this episode nearly as much as some of the other ones. So
Yeah.
there was one episode where that happened. So,
Mm.
for what that's worth.
Had Timbira not fallen apart at the merge, do you think Aaron sides with Tyson / Coach / Debbie or Brendan / Sierra at Final 6? She would have to go with Tyson, Coach, and Debbie. I mean, Brendan and Sierra, I think it was never going to work because everybody hated Sierra, so Sierra was always going to be. And like, what are you gonna? Yeah, I don't see that happening. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't either. I think it's always the Coach, Debbie, Tyson. Yeah, it's got to be. I mean, it would have to be. I think.
Yeah.
Um.
I don't know what happens with
So
that mess, but I feel
yeah,
like
that is a mess
I
for
feel like
sure.
Tyson might be in a good spot there because Coach, if Coach really wants to do the Warriors thing, just go to the end, and he's better at challenges too. So
right, and Tyson's could easily stab him in the back at kind of whatever time he so chose. I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So.
Speaking of Tyson, Tyson won the first 2 immunities when he didn't have to, and that resulted in his threat level being too high and him getting blindsided. Would it be a good strategy to throw early merge immunities to avoid this?
Interesting.
I think almost certainly. I mean, if you look at the results.
I would say no. Absolutely not, because you just make yourself that much more vulnerable to attack. Because like he loses, and then it's like between him or Coach. In some ways, like in terms of like big target on their back, and it's like, okay, well, he won. Okay, well, we'll go after this person now instead. Like,
yeah, but they only struck when they saw the opportunity. It was like they saw he had just won 2 immunities. If we don't get him now, he might just keep winning them. So I feel like there is something to be said where to come on too strong, he was just too dependent on the fact that they would be so solid with their alliance that they wouldn't care that he was winning the immunities. So it's like it wouldn't have hurt him in this position to hold out and then strike when he needed to. But
yeah, I guess that's an interesting point. But the only problem with that is that you don't know what each immunity is going to bring. Like you don't know what you're going to be necessarily going to be like really strong at.
But that's kind of the problem with this. The way he did it is that you started early on. That leaves more of an opportunity for you to drop one along the way, and you get a shuffleboard challenge, and that's it. Yeah. So it's like, what are the odds I'm going to just keep winning, and then, or if I win like 5 challenges in a row and then drop one, then I'm even more juicy target. So it's definitely a balance there.
I guess so. I guess maybe don't win multiple ones in a row. I guess if that's going to be the case, yeah, you don't want to come on as a perceived threat. You don't want to tom it up over here, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah,
I don't know. I would definitely err on the side of caution of thinking that way if I was going to be running a strategy like that. But I it is a worthy consideration though. It is a worthy consideration at the very least.
Mm-hmm. Especially in this case where it seems that was the primary motivation that made them turn on him to begin with. You know.
Yeah, for sure.
They might have just kind of stuck it out for a while longer with their Warriors alliance if it wasn't like, because he was literally, Steven was like, let's make you that guy that's wins the immunities. How does the location stack up against others in Survivor history, and general thoughts on Exile Island this season?
Yeah, so I sort of mentioned that earlier. I think general location, maybe not overall like the most standout we've ever had.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, kind of like being up in the Highlands, it's kind of a fun way to do things. I think that's one thing that stood out about China. I think maybe a little bit more being kind of up in the mainland. But that all that said, that Exile was amazing. I mean, it was a lone sort of like sandy dune out in the middle of like normal like plateaus and mountainsides and other things. It just completely stood out as a remarkable location to plop people.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, so it was really enjoyable in that regard. I think it really stood out. Um, I think it also made it like difficult because it was, it's on sand. You're a lot more exposed out there. You have to really like work to try to stay cool.
Hmm.
Um, so
Harder
as an
to
exile, I think it
harder
works
to get a
pretty well.
conjugal visit in. You get sand everywhere.
It gets everywhere. Yeah, it's true. Um,
But functionally, what do we
yeah.
think? Because
So
like previously, we've had different things they've done with Exile. Like Gabon, we had the whole. They kept sending sugar, and then you get clues, and you just like you can choose between comfort or clue to
right.
the idol. And before that, in Micronesia, it was like we'd send one from each tribe. But I think the idea was that they
Mhm.
would like compete and race for it, and they just ended up working together. And this one is like you get one of you will get the clue and one of you won't. And
Right.
then, but every time they just shared it with the other person anyway, and then
Yeah.
they
Right.
put they have
Right.
idols on either camp. So
Right. And that was sort of odd in that way too. I don't know. It's funny that it's like they've got the so it's like, well, you could share the information, you could not. Who knows? And it's like always like, okay, well, you're gonna share the information.
yeah, it's
Like
like,
I don't know. I just
especially when it's
it's
like
funny because it's like you're out there for like 2 days or whatever with the person, or a day and a half or something. It's like, what are you gonna talk about? You know,
it's
you're
like
not just gonna just
yeah. And what are you gonna not be that much like? Oh, you're on the opposing team, and then when you merge and you're together, and suddenly like, okay, well, now I'm not gonna work with you. You were like you were so
right.
off put by or
I
standoffish.
I guess if you like really really did not like the person, didn't vibe with them at all, then you could be like that. But
Hmm.
that'd have to be an extreme case for that to happen.
But it's interesting we've been doing this exile thing for so many seasons now. Like it
Yeah.
started in Panama, it was season 12, and then you had
Right.
Cook Islands. Um, they didn't do it in Fiji, and they didn't do it in China, right? And then they did it in Micronesia, Gabon, and now Tocantins.
Hmm.
So
Right.
it's interesting. They really want exile to be a thing, though. It's like they keep trying different
Yeah,
things with
they
it.
do. Well, because it is like culturally, it sort of makes sense if you're like in a tribe, you set apart somebody, to
Yeah,
ostracize the one person who's a failure. You kind of think of that about that. It's like a jail of some kind.
but
So
also
a
you know the thing is,
punishment.
season after season, we keep seeing like once you send one person to exile and it's like clues to an idol, it's like okay, let's just keep sending the same person so we don't have like multiple possibilities of someone having an idol. It's like so they just keep the choice isn't even as spicy as they want it to be like, ooh, who are you gonna send to
Yeah.
exile and punish? It's like, oh no, I get it, it's me again. It's you gotta do what you gotta do.
Maybe it'd be more funny to be like, hey, you send somebody to exile, and they're the only one that doesn't get a clue. You know.
Everybody else gets clues. It's crazy.
Right. So the rich get richer constantly.
Yeah.
That's Survivor.
Jay says that Sierra was a lot worse to live with than the edit showed. Apparently, she was rude and anti-Semitic towards Steven. I didn't verify that claim, but
Okay.
I mean,
Okay. Well, that would
they hate
explain
her for
some of it.
something. I remember hearing
Yeah.
like Tyson to this day. People will be like, "Don't you think you were too mean to Sierra?" He's like, "No, you guys don't get it." And then Steven would actually be like, "Yeah, she was a lot worse than it was showed," and all this. So
Okay.
I'm like,
Okay.
I don't
So,
know what it is.
okay, if you're throwing anti-Semitic stuff around, then yeah, nah, nah, get
But
out
it
of here
is
with that.
unverified,
I'm not cool.
unverified from
Yeah, it
Chase
is
Carrier.
unverified,
Okay,
allegedly,
yeah,
but
I didn't look. I
yeah,
never looked into that. So,
yeah, but that's not cool if true.
um, and yeah, that's it for our questions and comments. All right, so thanks for
Okay.
sending them. What
Yeah,
else?
always good to hear those. Always good to get a whole group of them.
Yeah. So the last thing we'll do is, as always, every season we stop in, we take a look at Alec's top 10 favorite Survivor players. And do you want to add anyone in, or do you want to change anything in general? Is the question we're asking. Whether your order is changed or you have, oh Jesus, currently is Rob, Boston Rob, Rupert, Sari, Rob Cisternino, Todd, Stephanie, Richard, Johnny, Yellman, and Jonathan.
That's bollocks, and you know it.
I mean my ass. Jonathan getting frustrated with me. I remember you got the
Let's get a
boot
little
last
wild.
time.
I'm gonna say, let's get a little wild and wacky here.
First off, is the question is there anyone you want to add to the top 10 from this season?
It would be it would be Steven. Steven would be the one I would want to add, or Coach. Not really. Not as a player. As an entertainment factor, Coach is right up there though.
So your top 10 favorite, however you interpret it, not top 10 best, but
it's true. It's true.
But I mean, you said he wasn't your favorite of the season anyway, so yeah, if Steven getting in there or not.
It'd be better. It'd be better to try to expand this to a top 20 at some point. You know, it's tough putting 10
tough.
on here.
That's what it is. It's a tough cut.
It's tough. It's a real tough cut.
You might just not be able to make the cut sometimes, and that's what it is. Nobody from Gabon got in there.
Well, there's a lot of reasons why nobody from Gabon got in there.
Amanda or Courtney, whichever you're talking about, they're not in there.
Amanda or Courtney. I mean, I do love both of them, but yeah, it's true they're not on here. Let's do it. Let's get crazy. We're gonna get nuts.
Oh no.
We're gonna get crazy. We're going hard.
Okay.
We're swapping Stephanie out of here.
Okay.
She's getting out.
What
She's
makes
out.
that happen, you think? How do you get from 6 to out? And she never dropped previously. Why wouldn't you? You're just feeling that.
It's just maybe it's more like over time. It's like, yeah, maybe she's more like a top 20, maybe not top 10.
I feel you.
Maybe we're further removed, and I'm just valuing because she's great. She's great in both the seasons she's in. But are
we changing just Stephanie, or are you changing a bunch? Because if we're changing a bunch, then we should just maybe start at the top and come down.
We should probably change. I think we're going to change a bunch. I think we're going to change a bunch of things right here.
All right, so let's go down. Are you fine with?
Okay. So it's gonna be Boston Rob, Rupert, Rob Cisternino, Suri. We'll do.
Oh, Rob Cisternino just switched with Suri real quick, huh?
Yep. We'll do Todd. Still in there.
Todd still at 5. Okay, now we're at 6.
I think we'll actually put Steven in here. The male Stephanie. Stephanie. Very Steven. We'll put Steven in here.
Okay.
He's up there. I really like Steven a lot. I think we're gonna do something else here. We're gonna bump Jonathan be bumped up to number 7.
Oh. I don't have any Jonathan lines for a good thing.
That's bollocks, and you know it.
A rat bastard.
You're right.
I'm a rat bastard.
And then I think we'll keep the rest of it pretty much the same. Richard Hatch, Johnny Fairplay, Yao Man.
Richard, Johnny, Yao Man at the bottom. Okay. So Boston Rob, Rupert, Rob Cisternino, Suri, Todd, Steven, Jonathan, Richard, Johnny Fairplay, Yao Man.
Too many dudes. You could say that. I got rid of a girl and get too many dudes.
Wait, is it all just Suri?
Suri.
Any women
I love Suri. I mean,
Yeah, absolutely. Is there any women that you would consider that were in, or that you'd never put in there before from season pass? Is there anyone that would be close to making the cut? Sugar, Susie, Parvati, Amanda.
Sugar maybe for fun, but probably Parvati and Amanda would be high contenders to be in there. Yeah, for sure.
Courtney.
Courtney would also be in there. Yeah, those three for sure.
Is Rory gonna find his way back? He was in there
I
at one
love
point.
Rory. Rory was in there. He's got that. Rory was just an entertaining guy. Well, we had Phillips was in here at one point. I think he's still in the top 20 for me. I like was literally just had his name, and now I forgot.
Rob with 2 B's.
No.
Brian. Clay.
Boo! Didn't see you there.
Boo. Yeah, Boo's close to the top 10. Dreams. Any love for Dreams?
Dreams? Anyone? Dreams?
Dreams. Yeah, I should have tried assembling top 10 as well, but I'm not sure what it would be.
No, it was
Name the season. I got you. Name any quality about them. I got you.
I'm terrible. Terrible. Oh, Rafe.
Yeah.
Rafe.
Yes, writer of the Wheel of Time. Rafe.
Yeah.
And the screenplay for Uncharted. That's right. Rafe.
So. The screenplay for Uncharted?
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Yeah, Rafe was in there at one point, but he was hanging on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Stephanie was never that high for me, so I was always surprised she was that high, but just a big leap out of the top 10 there.
Well, so like I think I bought into the hype for a while, because she's just very, very charming. She's hard, you got to give a lot of respect. I have to respect this. A lot of respect to the sort of like the tough girl. She's always works hard and plays hard and is very competitive.
Yeah.
I always appreciate that. I always appreciate a lot of that. But I think as time has gone on, I'm sort of like, yeah, she might be a little overhyped. I think she's still probably a top 20 for me, but I don't think she's a top 10. I think I'm the hype is dying down for me a bit on Stephanie, even though I do still like her.
Yeah, I think the top 20 would be too chaotic in terms of changing the orders around and stuff, though. So probably best to say to the top 10, just for.
Oh no, I think so. I'm just saying the theoretical top 20. I think could be.
But you were saying earlier that you should maybe do a top 20. That's what I was thinking. But you no love for Tom, and you made a mistake. No respect for Tom, and
I like Tom. I like Tom. Tom's top 20 probably.
And
Tom is God. Tom is basically just the God among men. What a beast.
You wouldn't do something like not put me in the top 10, now would you? No, that's all I want is for you to have the best top 10 list. It's not about me. It's
textbook gaslighting. This is awesome.
I know you wouldn't not put me in the top 10 because that's ridiculous.
Wouldn't. Yeah. I know you wouldn't do that.
That's not who you are, and I know you can do better than that. But Ian, I am gonna send you home tonight. I'm gonna follow your wishes.
I'm gonna follow your wishes and send you to the fishes.
Anyway, all right, there you go.
So, yeah.
Yao Man, you're on alert.
Yeah, man's on alert.
You never know. You can go from 6 to out of there in no time.
It's true. You get crazy. I could get crazy with it.
Because you had Yule above Yao Man last time, and then Yule got the boot, and then Yule got the boot, and Yao Man moved up. So So you never know what's gonna happen.
Hey, Yule's also a great
I love
player
you.
too. Player. Yule's great. I love Yule.
Yeah, I love you for sure. Um, yeah, there you go. I think that's it, right? Yeah, on to the rankings.
Yeah.
That'll be uh next week for us. I don't know when I'll be uploading it. If it'll be, I might try to upload it soon after this, or it'll be a week later. I don't know. But then after
Mm.
we'll rank the season, the winner, and the cast. After that, on to Survivor Samara. Samara.
Samara.
Do you want to give a tease? I think it might be fitting because people sat through the whole review. What's your gut
Mm.
now tell you? Like, what range do you think you might put it in before you have a week to reflect? Where do you think JT might end up, and where do you think the season might end up?
I think JT's probably going to be in a decent place. I don't think he's going to be in the top, but I don't think he's going to be in the bottom either. I think floating around in the middle somewhere. We'll see. We'll see which side that favors. I'm not sure right now. But he's looking good. He's not looking in a negative light. In terms of the season, I think honestly it's probably right around the same. And it's definitely geared more in the positive directions of that. I think very entertaining season to be sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll look back on fondly. One that I mean, heck, I'd probably want to. This would be easily in the rotation to rewatch for seasons. I think this
Mm-hmm.
is just like for Coach alone. I mean, it's worth it for Coach and the friendship between the two guys. I mean, I love that. Just love that camaraderie. You know.
I mean, for me, the season it definitely went up upon rewatching it. For me, it's definitely a really solid season. I very much
Mm.
enjoyed it. It's definitely high for me. And for the winner, not to push you too much, but I definitely will make the case that I think JT might be one of the best winners, if not the best winner we've seen so far. I think I
Interesting.
think he's top 3 minimum for me right here.
Interesting.
I mean,
We'll have to discuss that. I'd be
we
interested
talk
to
about
hear your
Tom.
case
Tom
on
is
that.
like my number 1 right now. It's
Yeah.
it's absolute dominance from start to finish. It's just, and he's doesn't never gets a vote, gets all the votes. And that's it. I mean, I've had a
JT
problem
does have
seeing
the
any
charisma.
flaws.
The JT does have the charisma of a bard, basically, too. In D&D, he's just like rolling
Mm-hmm.
high all the time. I mean, he's passive charisma. I don't even know if that's a thing. It's just constant. He didn't even have to try, and like
Yeah.
he's got family members that are rooting for him on other who are supposed to be rooting for other people.
Yeah, it seems like it's an aura thing and people just coming to him, but at the same time, it's like
Mm,
I find it hard to think of anything to hold against him.
yeah,
It's like, yeah, maybe
fair.
if he lost the final challenge, yeah, that's a thing. He could probably be voted out by either of them, but still, the fact that he got there
Mm,
with everybody loving him, everybody knew you loved him the whole time. The the entire game is restructured around him for the Warriors Alliance when he should have been a dead man walking. You know,
yeah.
but yeah. So I think he's up there for me. Um, anyway, we'll get into that next video. All right, and then a new
So stay
Survivor
tuned for that
season.
one.
Survivor every week here on the channel. All right, subscribe to the channel for more. Like the video, and random rules. We're gonna give a random Tarqaron video, not necessarily Survivor, but a complete random
Mm.
Tarqaron video for you to watch next. If you enjoyed this video, go check out episode 6 of Survivor Palau, Imposter Handwriting.
Trying to remember what that is.
That's a deep cut I don't even remember from the title. Wow. I don't know what that is.
Mm. Did somebody try to like
I don't
disguise their handwriting on
I don't
the
remember
that's
that
the
if
thing.
so.
Yeah. Maybe they did. I don't remember
'Cause
either.
this isn't like that's the pre-merge of Palau still. When
Yeah.
Oolong's getting demolished. Hmm. But there you go. Check that one out.
Go check it out,
You can
baby.
go on our channel for playlists for all of our Survivor videos and all of our videos in general. You go to zacharcher.net/survivor. You can see all the seasons, all of the content we've done on all of them right there for you. We did season reviews of the first 4 seasons, and then we've done reactions to every episode and season reviews for all the seasons since Thailand. Season 5 through 18 now. That's big.
Wow, that is pretty big.
All right.
Oh, which episode was it again of Palau?
6.
Oh, Stephanie swears to Bobby John that she didn't vote for him, but she did. Helps Bobby John think it was Jamie. Or James? What the? I can't even read what I'm saying. James.
James.
What am I writing? I can't even read my writing. It's James. Bobby John wants James gone. Anyway.
I mean, all that shit didn't even matter because the whole tribe gets demolished
No.
with no hope.
No.
All the dynamics of the tribe did not matter. Only mattered the one that came out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy. All right. Well, thank you for watching.
Crazy indeed.